Evening and good afternoon for everyone who is joining. We will get just started in a couple of more minutes as more attendees arrive. Hello everyone. My name is Sagnik Datta. I am part of the Citrix Ready technical marketing team managing the workspace ecosystem. Welcome to our webinar series where we bring you the best of our partners who are Citrix Ready, and thanks for joining in. Along with me, I have the main speakers for the call, Bala Vaidyanathan. He is the CDO of AG Innovation. And from Citrix side, we have James, who is the Director of Strategic Alliances. Before we begin, I want to quickly give you a couple of hygiene routine. So for question and answers, please use the question panel on the right-hand side. We will take your questions at the end of the presentation in our Q&A session. And if you have any other, and the recording of this webinar will be shared to you in your email IDs in a day or two's time. To introduce you about the presentation today, we have EG Innovation, who are a long-time Citrix Ready partner. EG Enterprise delivers the best of the breed performance monitoring for Citrix XenApp and Zen desktop environments. With EG Enterprise and Citrix, you get the best of Citrix monitoring software on virtual apps and desktop at a very affordable price. Monthly charge per user is less than the price of a cup of coffee. With that short introduction, let me bring Bala Vaidyanathan on the call. Bala, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Sagnik. Thanks for joining, everybody. What we wanted to do today was to give you a quick insight into our brand new release, EG Enterprise 7.1, and how we've aligned with our new release with what's new in the Citrix Workspace. So by the end of this webinar, you will be equipped with ideas on how to improve your user experience using EG 7.1 and what are the things that EG can do for you in 7.1, like providing deeper performance visibility, providing extended insights into all different components that are making up a new Citrix Workspace, and also new visualizations and dashboards that would reduce the amount of time you spend troubleshooting Citrix, managing Citrix, and increase the user experience that you can provide to your end users. And without much further ado, I want to hand it over to my friend from Citrix here to talk a little bit about Citrix Workspace and what's new in it. James, all yours.
Thank you, Bala. Can you advance the slide? Yep. So so today I think most of the customer all have these beautiful devices that is sitting in front of their desk or sitting in their on their hands, right? And most of our IT users now is no longer facing a computer on their desk, and they're using different devices, access to information as they need it, whenever they want it, and whenever they feel required to do their work. So the traditional boundary of Office and having a whole bunch of files sitting on your desk, using legacy equipment to access information, is no longer a popular use cases now for our employees. Now, so what Citrix is trying to do in this in the new era of this consumerization of the IT is that we want to create a workspace where it unifies all the different type of applications and data at a single location and make it easy for customers to do that. Now, can you advance to the next slide, please? Next slide. I'm not seeing the slide getting refreshed. All right, here we go. So, so what is the new in the Citrix Workspace is that we are now starting to bring in SaaS application such as ServiceNow, Salesforce, modern, web-based SaaS app, Workday, Office 365, and communication tool like Teams, Slack, and all these different components into the user workspace environment. And customer can basically leverage our workspace app running on their existing Windows platform or running on their Mac or running on their mobile, provide them access to all these different SaaS applications securely, and and also simplifies their login experience. So we will be able to help IT to deliver all these apps with the unified authentications and make it easy for customer to access all these information securely. And a part of that, obviously, we need some kind of a performance monitoring tools in order to monitor and troubleshoot the issue that the customer is reporting for their user experience. Now, EG Innovation is a good partner of ours who can offer a variety of instrumentation tools in the performance management and allow us to help customers identify where the issue is. And a lot of times, the issue is not in the Citrix infrastructure. It might be behind Citrix infrastructure, or it might be in front of the Citrix infrastructure on the networking side, or even on the endpoints PC. So all these different components are being measured by EG Innovation's software, and they can provide us with a lot of information and help administrator to address all the different variety of problems that comes along. So I'm going to return this to Bala and have him demonstrate all the greatness and features to help our customers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James. So some of you might already know who EG is, and for those of you who aren't aware of who we are, we've been working with Citrix for a very long time. We are a performance management tool. We've been around for close to a couple of decades, and for most of that time, we've been a Citrix partner, and I can proudly say we've been instrumental in guiding Citrix towards better performance management metrics. And with Citrix, we work together to help our combined customers deliver better user experience through all these years. For the past 5 years, Citrix has actually been using us to manage their environments in Citrix Synergy and Summit. So you know what tool Citrix does to manage their environment. We are a global technology partner for Citrix, Citrix Ready Certified and all that good stuff, obviously. So now I want to talk a little bit about how we are helping you, the Citrix customer, to deliver better user experience to your end users, to deliver better services. and what are the 4 different aspects of that and how we are approaching it in the modern Citrix workspace. But before we get into that, we want to take a little bit of a poll and get a feel for what you guys are facing in terms of performance management challenges. So, Sagnik, can we bring up that poll? All right, so you guys should be able to see the poll in front of you, and basically what we are looking to get from you is, what do you perceive as your top performance challenges in your Citrix environment? So is it lack of insight into user experience problems, no proper alerting and reporting system in place, need for more automation, or not able to optimize Citrix servers to handle the workload? So the first option should be lack of insight into user experience issues and troubleshooting. So the first option is user experience. So you can check as many as you want. Please select one. All right, we should have checked that before, but I know you would have more than one of these problems, so it's going to allow you to select only one. So select the one that you feel is the most critical for you at this point. And again, I want to repeat, the first one is lack of insight into user experience problems. So maybe we want to give the audience 30 seconds more, Sagnik, before they decide, and then we can wrap it up and see the results. And Sagnik, I'd like you to read out the results because I can't see it.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just 60% have voted. I'll wait for 15 more seconds. I think I'll be able to share the results after this. Okay, 5 more seconds. All right, let's close it. Oh, so you see, so 25% have voted for lack of insight, and 21% on no proper alerting and reporting system. Majority of the people have voted for 43% for the need for automation for root cause analysis, and the lower end are not able to optimize the Citrix servers.
Okay, excellent, excellent. I think so this gives us an understanding of where people are, and it aligns with our 4 core areas of addressing this problem in our space. Essentially, we want to focus on proactive root cause analysis, proactive user experience management, and being able to give you end-to-end visibility and alert across the board. So, hey, thanks for participating, everybody. So let's talk about how we can help you guys and what's new in 7.x in lieu of that. So measure all aspects of user experience as things have evolved into Citrix Workspace, and as technology has evolved in the past decade or so, and cloud has become more and more ubiquitous. What we are finding is when it comes to managing performance, it used to be the case already in Citrix, but it's mostly all about the user experience today, because there are a lot of different technologies, a lot of different layers, and a lot of different pieces that work together. Some of it is in the cloud, so you're not responsible for it. Some of it is in your data center, so you're responsible for it. Some of it is in Citrix data center, so all the different pieces are working together. And if you look at individual pieces, most of the time you get a feel for everything is okay or everything looks okay. But the real proof, as they say, is in the pudding, which is the user experience. So it's become imperative to really understand, really get into the user experience and manage it effectively. So what that means is being able to track all aspects of user experience, and when there is a problem, being able to isolate and identify, as you guys were asking for, finding the root cause of the problem, so you can zoom in on what the issue is and take care of it. Now, to that effect, let's talk about some of the approaches we have for user experience monitoring. The first one is synthetic monitoring. We have synthetic monitoring and real user monitoring. Synthetic monitoring is simulating, real user monitoring is monitoring real users. So we have a logon simulator. This is the biggest, your first impression into your Citrix environment. So logon needs to be perfect. In any Citrix environment, you need to strive towards making it as good as possible given your circumstances, under your circumstances. So there are a couple of ways to look at it. One is obviously doing a simulation that runs 24/7, and we have purpose-built a logon simulator for virtual desktop and virtual application and desktop environment. It does a bunch of different things, and I want to show you some screens to give you insight. So it works like a typical user. It connects, it launches an application, and then successfully logs off. So this is how it kind of looks like when it comes to reality. So let's take a look at it here, Logon Simulator. Okay. So I'm logging into our demo system right now. I'm connected to our demo system. This is a cloud-based environment. So our software can be procured as a cloud-based service, or you can run it in-house in your environment, whichever way you prefer. This demo is set up as a cloud service. So you can see these are different logon sessions these are different elements. Let me go to the actual logon simulators here. Synthetic monitoring. Okay, so these are the different applications which are being launched in our logon simulator. You should see that in your screen now. So you can see that we are actually looking at all different types of applications being launched and different URLs through which we are going through, and the breakdown in terms of where we are spending time and how everything is working. So let me do a diagnosis on one of these, and you can see already a clear breakdown in terms of where you're spending time. Client processing, StoreFront web URL access, authentication, enumeration. So when there is a breakdown, when there is a slowdown, you know exactly where the slowdown is. In this case, it is 95 seconds for application and desktop launch. That is where the slowdown is. And this is through simulation. To launch that particular application, all the other processes are fine. You are having a bottleneck in this particular situation. So let me look at another example which is working fine. So here in this case, to comparison, you're able to do the entire simulation in 28 seconds. So within 30 seconds, you're able to launch, provide the application to the user, and you're actually able to log out. So it took about 20 seconds to launch the application here. So this gives you insight into if there are problems with users, and it runs 24/7, and you can launch different applications. Typically, our customers use it to launch applications that are significant to them and applications that they want launched globally from different parts of their environment, or even from different offices that they want to make sure 24/7 that this application is available for their users. And you can set up multiple applications this way. Now, going back to the slides. So we will be stopping a couple of times for Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to type in. I will go through some of this stuff a little bit quicker because we want to give you an overview of a bunch of different things that are coming out. But at the same time, if you want to get into detail of any of this, you can ask questions, and we can also even have a different session specifically around some of these topics, which we will be doing in future. All right, so we can see that the logon is slowing down, why a logon is slowing down, and more importantly, when it breaks, when it cannot launch something because there is an error message, it will capture that error message and send it to you. So even though it is simulation, it's smart simulation. When it fails, it will tell you why it failed. So you will have the ability to address it. And it also supports a lot of different other things besides StoreFront. All right, so if you want to go beyond simulation, so we talked about all aspects of user experience, right? Logon simulation is easy. It's something that we strongly believe everybody should do. But if you want to go beyond that level of simulation, and some of our customers want to go down that route, then you have the ability through EG to basically do all the entire use case of an application through simulation. So we call it our simulator. And in this, unlike Logon simulator, you will use recording, screen capture, and all that. But you will be able to do everything you want in a simulated session and have it play back and monitor it. Okay, so this covers all the simulation pieces, right? Once that full session is simulated where people launch things, this is how the metric will look like. So you can see browser launch, StoreFront login, VDI login, desktop availability. You can do desktop search. You can see all these different items broken down. So you can see exactly which part. So if you have people complaining about, hey, when I launch this particular thing within an application, I'm having a problem. When I do a particular task that is having a problem, so you can record all that and then do a baseline. You can try to figure out why this is happening. So this enables you to do all that. So you get full visibility into what the user is experiencing. Okay. So screen capture functionality is also included here. So when it breaks, you know exactly what's broken. So this is a nice eyes-only slide. You can see we support every single thing you would want in a synthetic monitoring situation. And we will share these slide decks so you will have all the details. And you can also go to our website to see the comprehensive coverage we have. Now, so synthetic monitoring is on one side, right? We do that for preventative. If something breaks in the middle of the night, synthetic monitoring will capture it, and you can fix it before users log on. But what about real users, right? Real users, real monitoring, real logons. So we provide comprehensive support for that too. And remember, I was talking about why user experience is the most important thing in today's world, because of how all these different applications and all these different technologies are now in different places. They have to coexist. So the only way to see whether the user is having a good experience or not is to actually look into the user experience, not by just checking server statistics. So check the logon, check the session, check the application launch, check the application access. And during all these processes, check important things. Were the authentication successful? Was logon slow? Was the application launch successful? Did it take too much time? Is the end user facing any screen refresh latency? You know, this is standard stuff, but as you will see as I go along showing you the product, there are a lot of different things that you need to take into account. All of this makes user experience. User experience is not just latency. It's not just ICA latency. And that's where people tend to look at, hey, if I just look at ICA latency, I get user experience. No, it's not the case. There are so many other things you need to manage. And you need a solution that can do it smartly and alert you when there is a problem and not force you to look at all the metrics all the time. So let's take a look at slow logons. I want to go back to the demo for this. So this time I'm looking at real logons, right? So let's go back, and this is our homepage dashboard. This is a demo system, so it's got a bunch of stuff in it. So I want to specifically look at a logon environment. So I clicked on a Citrix server now, and then I'm looking at this particular user, Keith, session startup details, 41 seconds, group policy processing duration, 37 seconds. So you can see all the different types of metrics that we're collecting for logon. And this is for an actual user logon when the user is logging in real time. So every user who's logging in, you're able to collect the logon metrics. So you can get insights into every single logon that is happening in your environment. That means pretty much you can eradicate all the common causes of logon slowdown in your environment. Now, there's a lot of metrics, and from an EG perspective, what we want to highlight to you is where we feel the potential problem is. We collect all the metrics to make sure everything is good, and we only alert you, only highlight things that are potentially having issues. So you don't have to look at all the 55 or 65 logon metrics. You can just focus on the ones that have issues. In this case, group policy processing duration, that has increased the session startup time. Now we can look at it from a more visually appealing way using this. So you can see that currently this user is logged in. Overall, 48 seconds has been taken, and out of which 41 seconds was for session startup. And then you can drill down into this, and I can tell you where the session launched and all that. And this is a breakup of that session startup. So essentially, you get all the insights that you need to identify where the problem is and start resolving it. In this case, see 37 seconds for group policy, and then you can see that group policy drive map is taking 36 seconds. So in effect, everything you need to solve logon problems, right? Now, user experience, as I said, was not just logon. There are a lot of other things that could go on during user experience, and you need to be able to understand what is going on for a particular user. So in this case, we're looking at a user called Scott. You can see CPU time used in user session is high. We are looking at all the session resources, HTX channel. Let me show you guys a different user to get a different perspective here. All right, so you can see here, session resources, CPU, memory, working set memory, IO, and all that good stuff. And for everything, you have detailed diagnostics. Here you can see the latency aspect of it. So client network latency, screen refresh latency. You can see the screen refresh latency is pretty high, but the client network latency is not. So even though the user is having a bad experience, it's not because that the network is bad. There is something else going on here. What it could be. What did I say? We collect a lot of metrics, but we focus you on things that are important for you. So in this case, it's printer bandwidth input, printer bandwidth output. So a background print job is running and choking the bandwidth available. So the screen refresh latency has gone bad. That's why this user is having a problem. Let's look at a different user. So this was Kevin. So now we're looking at John. So John also has an issue with screen refresh latency. However, his client network latency is pretty pathetic. So it's 7.3. So obviously, this is not going to be a great user experience for John because he's not coming in through a good connection. How do we know he's not coming through a good connection? His client network latency is bad. And not only that, you have additional information to corroborate that, which is there are 5 other sessions on that particular Citrix server, and nobody else is having any problems. So screen refresh latency, client network latency for this user, Charles, on the same server is insignificant, right? So this is the kind of, so there is some new stuff that we've added in 7.x to improve this, to make it even better. But the 2 things I want you to think about is a lot of metrics goes into collecting this. You can't just look at 4 things or 5 things and say, hey, I have a handle on user experience. A lot of metrics goes into collecting this and managing this. So EG does that. It also does it in a smart way so that when you have a problem, you're not faced with looking at dozens of metrics for hundreds of users, but you're just looking at the problematic metrics that you need to focus on. And here's an example of that. If you look at alarms, in this case, you will actually see history of alarms. Let's look at current alarms. You will see all these alerts that are there highlighted already. So it's not even necessary for anybody to actually log into the environment to check what is going on. It is already, so you can see printer bandwidth input high, CPU ready time high. And so this is a demo, so we've got a bunch of things broken, so we can show you guys the examples, but you can see the example of where the problems are and what is going on. And these things will be sent to your trouble ticketing system or your incident management system, so nobody even needs to be logged on to look at what is going on. Everything related to your Citrix environment will be tracked live and reported on. Now, please go ahead and type in your questions if you have any. We'll be taking a break in a couple of minutes to answer the first round of questions. Okay, we obviously saw that we can help you troubleshoot slow logon issues. So there is some more visibility that we've added in logon monitoring. As I said, it is available both for users that are in the cloud, the Citrix cloud, and also your on-prem users. So identifying access delay to latency, we just saw that, an example of latency caused by printer bandwidth versus a latency caused by just simple client-side network latency. And this is something new that we have included in 7.1, which is tracking what is happening within the operating system when a user produces input before that input is taken up by the operating system. So if there is a challenge in the operating system, so it is too busy and it's not able to take up the user request quickly, we'll be able to track it now, and that will give you insights into, hey, when the user is having a slowdown, this is a system issue. This is inherent to that system or inherent to what that application is trying to do, as opposed to a network issue or as opposed to a resource constraint. Okay, so we looked at user experience extensively. The second aspect of how we'll help Citrix customers would be our end-to-end breadth of what we do in the Citrix environment. I'll talk about that in a minute. Before that, I want to throw it back to Sagnik and say, hey, you guys have any questions? Any questions coming up from the audience?
Hey, Bala, thank you. Very insightful presentation. Yes, we do have quite a few questions coming on. So I'll just keep asking you in sequence. So like, do you have a free version of the Logon simulator that I can try?
Yes, we do. Just go to our website and you'll be able to find it and you can try it yourself.
Perfect. And you talked about performing some simulated checks on StoreFront. How is that different from the Logon simulator?
Yeah, the StoreFront is essentially the Logon simulator goes through the entire cycle of checking the full simulation for a particular application. And the StoreFront level simulator focuses on logon experience for specifically going through StoreFront. That is similar to app probing in Citrix Director, where more details are provided for StoreFront URL availability, StoreFront home configuration, resource availability, ICA file download. So essentially, if you have potential problems with your StoreFront, we would recommend trying the simulated checks on StoreFront because it gives you a lot more detailed breakdown on what could be the problem. So the Logon simulator will tell you, hey, StoreFront has the problem. The StoreFront simulation can tell you exactly where the problem is in StoreFront.
Got it. Okay. And for load balancing, there's a question around, I need to know how many more sessions my environment will support. Can EG Enterprise get advice here?
Oh, yeah. I think this is something that we will touch on later on. We have a capacity planning report that can be used to get a sense for, based on your current usage, how you can grow and how much load you can take up.
Got it. So That sounds good. Then there's another question on the remote control action. So what are some of the remote control actions that I can use to help troubleshoot a problem with a virtual app user session? Can you cover that?
I think I'll be touching on it in the following slides. So just hold on tight and we'll go through that. I think what we'll do is we'll keep the rest of the questions for the end of the session. Already there's a question or two that is going to be answered as I go along in the presentation. So let me get back on that.
Sure, let's do that.
Okay. All right, so we are looking at Citrix end-to-end, right? So deeper visibility into Citrix, extended reach to support new tiers. So how does this look like? So one of the fundamental principles of EG is we understand that Citrix is a classic multi-tier application. And essentially, it's an interface to our users that delivers applications, that delivers content, that delivers workspace, in effect. So it's a channel, it's a conduit, more or less, if you will. But what happens in the real world is wherever there is a problem, whenever there is a problem, people tend to point to Citrix and say it's a Citrix problem. But that's not the case. So how do we address this situation? You can address it by looking at Citrix as a true service. That means you look at all the different elements that are involved in delivering a Citrix service, not just a Zen app, but all the different Citrix platforms and the applications that are delivered on top. So you get a true end-to-end picture of your infrastructure, your application stack, your Citrix gateway, and the users experiencing it. So once you have a true end-to-end stack and visibility into end-to-end stack, you can then identify whenever a problem is happening, where it is originating from, and who is getting impacted, rather than starting off with a user complaint that says, hey, you have a Citrix problem. So our founding principle has always been, look at Citrix as an end-to-end service. And just generally, it is a good principle for any application, any N-tier application. Gone are the days where application was just one box, just interacting with itself. So any application today interacts with multiple layers, multiple components, and the users, and you have to look at it end-to-end and understand the dependencies to truly manage and understand root cause. So that's what we do in Citrix. We cover everything pretty much Citrix delivers. We have support for over 200 different types of applications and platforms in general, and we support everything that Citrix does also. So we are not just doing Citrix, we're doing a lot of other things, but when it comes to the Citrix space, we cover everything that Citrix does. And towards that initiative is covering app layering. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already using app layering or looking into using app layering, which is, we are seeing the customer base adopting to this rapidly. So obviously we see a need for us to monitor this. Basic stuff, trying to understand if the app layering was successful. Not a lot of things can go wrong, but when something goes wrong, it could go pretty bad. So we are looking at things like, so I can show you an example. So this is a screenshot. This is going to be the same. Essentially, track the time taken for app layering assignment, and then we'll be able to drill down and actually see which VDIS are attached to the user session, which is servicing that particular layered app. So you get visibility into app layering, and you don't have to do anything new with EG. It just gets picked up by default, discovered by default, and we start monitoring it. And if we start having issues, then you will start getting alerts out of EG for app layering. Another thing is WEM. So this is a great new technology by Citrix to improve the user experience, where the session is delivered a lot quicker and a lot of work happens in the back end before everything gets ready. But the first part of the session is delivered quickly. And as you can see, a lot of technologies are moving down this way. But it's still important to understand and manage all the back-end processes and making sure everything is working fine. Otherwise, you will have a challenge. If some of the backend process break, it will look like the user has actually logged on, but they will not have the requisite things for them to perform an action. So you will be in challenge. The user experience is compromised and it's a challenge for you. So EG addresses that. Obviously, we monitor logon processing by WEM. We look at it both from your Zen desktop side and also from license server connectivity, database connectivity, event server logs. So we're looking at how WEM is working across the board. So from those two perspectives, we are able to give you a comprehensive view into what is going on with WEM. So this is one of the examples. Citrix Director only shows the interactive session time, does not include WEM agent processing time, whereas we can give you the WEM agent processing time, what happened. If there is a problem with the WEM agent, we can give you breakdown as to why that problem is happening, essentially, what is going on. I mean, it's a lot more comprehensive view. As I've said earlier, we take a comprehensive view of the situation all the time, so that whenever there is a challenge, you are able to proactively identify and resolve it before user starts complaining. And you also have the ability to focus on the issue. You never run out of information you need. So more new components, we do Citrix session recording, Citrix SD-WAN is supported now, Citrix FAS services supported, Citrix ADFS services supported. So all of this stuff is all the new things that have been introduced in recent times has been fully supported. You can go to our website to get more details in terms of what are the metrics you can get out of this and what kind of alerts we can give you. Deeper visibility into Citrix Workspace. So essentially, this is where we were talking about StoreFront application availability. So there was a question earlier about what can you tell me more in StoreFront. So StoreFront URL configuration, home configuration, authentication method, you can see all of those breakdowns, a level of detail beyond Logon Simulator. As I was saying earlier, you use Logon Simulator and it'll tell you if the slowdown is on the browser side or on the StoreFront side or on the desktop application launch. And you use these metrics and it'll tell you exactly what is breaking down inside StoreFront if it's a StoreFront issue. Okay, this is another one that we have added that has been a consistent issue that we've seen in the space. So when you're trying to shut down a VM, it goes into a dead beef state. Never really agreed with the nomenclature on this, but hey, that's what it's called. So the dead beef can be detected, and of course, you just need to upgrade to the latest driver, but the problem is still around, so we can identify those things for you. Another interesting thing that we've done in the past few months for 7.1, this is a support that we've had for quite some time. We've just enhanced it. Essentially, we are able to track user sessions by different types of browsers that they are using and what URLs they're accessing within the browser. As more and more applications become web-based, within Citrix, it's become a lot more important to understand what kind of browser is being used, what are the sessions that are running within this, and what kind of consumption we are seeing within those sessions. Okay, in the interest of time, I want to move on to this. Localhost cache. So the latest localhost cache is also being monitored. So anytime you have access to the localhost cache, where the site database is not accessible for over 90 seconds, then you will get a flag that says, hey, localhost cache was activated. That means you know that the site database has issues or a database is not available for the delivery controller, and you can perform action based on it. And we've seen this happen quite frequently in recent times. So we felt that it's important to categorize that as a separate metric and flag it for our users. and this is supported for both on-prem and Citrix Cloud deployments. So we get more metrics out of desktops, delivery controller, Citrix IDC. Come to our website to figure out what more metrics you can get. Already we do a lot of metrics, and you will get more metrics on top of it. But keep in mind, we have the analytics on top of it to give you the right information when you have a problem. So you're not looking at too many metrics, but at the same time, you have all the information you need. So going beyond Citrix, as I was saying, we support over 200 different types of applications and platforms. So we support SharePoint, Office 365, Exchange, Microsoft Teams, Salesforce, everything, all different types, all the SaaS applications, whether you're running in-house or consuming it as pure SaaS, infrastructure, Azure, AWS, all different types of platforms is being supported by EG today. So whatever you run, pretty much we can say more likely that we would support what you have in your environment. Okay, pinpoint root cause of problems for troubleshooting. This is something that was that is important, that differentiates us from everybody that is out there in the market. And one of the reasons why Citrix is, in addition to the depth of metrics we collect and all the good things we do, our ability to quickly identify root cause makes it very valuable for our customers. So let's look at an example of this real quick, okay? So this is an environment-wide topology where a complex Citrix environment is being looked at from end-to-end perspective, and you can clearly see all the different elements that are involved in delivering a service, right? And where the problems are. So let me actually show you guys a demo of this. Okay, for a change, we'll do it on Citrix Zen Desktop. Okay, so I'll close that here. So we'll go to PQ and trading. This is a service. We start off from the service, and you can see the simulation here in that particular service. Perform trade is slow. Browse open items. Access desktop is also slow. So you can see that simulation has a couple of issues, but instead of showing red here, we are showing yellow. That means it's a low priority problem. So we're looking at a service. This is a service, PQ and trading, traders using VDI desktops through Citrix. Okay, let me drill down. You can see that there are problems across the board. All key items performing trade, browse open items are slow. So let's look at the topology. So this is the topology of this particular service. You can see the front end, VMware, vSphere, NetScaler, delivery controller, all the elements involved in delivering the service, but it's very clear where the problem is, wherever it's red. So I drill down into red. Inside view has a problem. There is an outside view and inside view. The outside view is the hypervisor's view. Inside view is the view from within the desktop. You can clearly see retransmit ratio is an issue. And this is a problem that we saw in a real environment that we've replicated in a demo. This is just a network misconfiguration, but obviously that creates challenges and compromises user experience. Now, the fun part is I walked you through all that to give you a perspective of how it works. But in reality, if I look at current alerts, all of that is done for me automatically, and I'm focused on the root cause, TCP retransmission percentage. This is where I drill down and went to. And this, the analytics and the artificial intelligence built into the tool enables us to do this in real time and present you with the problem. So you can address this and get ahead of the problem curve, which means you're preventing a problem before it starts impacting users. And this is applicable for end-to-end Citrix environment where you've got some cloud, something in your cloud, something you have a hybrid cloud environment, let's say, or you have everything in-house, or you have everything in cloud. This is applicable everywhere, where we have the ability to look at all these metrics, apply analytics and artificial intelligence, and tell you proactively what's going to break before they start impacting users. And that's what you want. That's where you need to be. Now, I want to show you a couple of quick things with the new dashboards and reports that we have done. So this is a session overview. I'll show you guys through the demo. Let me go back here. So there's a quick way to look at, so this is new in 7.1. So this is a user experience dashboard. So I can basically click on a particular user and you will see the user experience, where the user is connected and all that, but I can also bring you this user's connection. So you can see what happened with the logon, which StoreFront controller, session topology, which applications that the user is using, what is the overall latency, what's his connection, all the good stuff that you need to know for that particular user. Okay, and which areas of his connection are having issues. And we've already seen that this user was having a logon issue. And there were some other issues in the server that the user was connected to. So imagine this kind of visibility where your help desk users can look at it and say, okay, I want to search for the user. Okay, you can just search for Keith, and then you search for Keith and you will see what sessions Keith is running. Oh, Kevin. All right, let me go back into the screen. You can search for the user and you can see the session, which session, how many sessions that particular user is running, and you can click on the problematic session and you see it. And your help desk users should be able to do that by themselves. And that's how you can empower different areas in your environment. So when there is a problem, if somebody is calling in, the help desk user is able to see it and resolve it for them. So one call into help desk resolves the situation rather than things getting escalated to you. Now let's look at some new dashboards. I want to give some time for Q&A. So I want to show you guys the new dashboards on this side and on some reports. So
hey,
this is an overview of.
We may want to hurry because there's quite a question. Yeah, there are a couple of many questions. Do you want to?
No, just give me
take a quick note.
Give me like 2-3 minutes. I want to run through a couple of things quickly, and then we'll jump to questions. Okay. So this is a new dashboard, and you can see 12 sessions here, active sessions, unique users, session startup on an average, resource utilization across the entire environment, how many XenApp servers, what's the health of those servers, top applications by CPU, and I can look at logon experience. So there are different tabs. I can look at all the different stuff here, delivery groups based information. I can look at sessions. I can look at actually applications. Let's look at applications. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in the application. So you can break down applications in real time by CPU, by memory. So there are 5 different types of applications running by IOPS, by instances. So you quickly know which application is causing a bottleneck, which application is a low resource consumer, right? So you have all that data in your fingertips, and you can break it down. You can customize this dashboard, do it any way you want, and you can present different dashboards to different actors in your organization. So help desk can use a dashboard. Citrix administrators can use a dashboard, managers or directors can use a different dashboard, and CIOs can use a different dashboard depending on their needs, right? And there is a similar concept available in report where I can do domain specific reports. So I can look at XenApp overview. So you can see user experience. This is for the past 24 hours. So total logons was a slow logon. So 5,000 total logons, 1,800 slow logons, 33% slow. Now, this is great information to have. And obviously, this is a demo system. That's why there is a high number of slow logons. Application launch durations. Typically, you can see that application launch is happening pretty well here. Application launch by average duration, which one takes the longest, HTX, latency, all the good stuff that you want from user experience. So you can look at sessions, you can look at servers, all different things here, applications. Now, I think somebody asked a question regarding capacity planning. I want to just touch on that real quick here. So you can actually run a report to say, based on my previous experience, how is my capacity right now? Let's look at virtual applications. And it will, you can increase your capacity and it'll tell you what is going on. Give me a second. Since it's a demo system, I'm trying to find something with data here. Maybe I can do it here. Okay. All right, here you go. This is not a demo system, but here you go. This is Zen Desktop Capacity Prediction. This is 92 users. You've consumed 17% of CPU, memory usage, disk usage, network usage, okay? If I increase that from 92 users to, say, by 50%, it kicks me out. All right, while I'm doing this, let's take some questions.
Sure. So I'm going to go bottom up, Bala. So can EG Innovation handle 100,000 devices and still maintain the current speed? For example, 3,000 servers and 97,000 user devices?
A very good question. Yes, we can. We scale horizontally, and I think our largest customer has over 170,000 users.
Wow, that's fantastic. The next question is, can you show Office 365 monitoring, Exchange Online, latency, availability, etc.? I know that we're short of time, but another question is the UX monitoring. Yeah, go ahead.
So the answer to that question is yes. Keep a lookout for one of our future webinars where we'll be demonstrating a lot of those stuff in detail. And we've also done some monitoring for Office 365 webinars ahead. Also, if you guys want to look at it in detail, you can always reach out to us and we can set up a separate demo for your team.
That sounds fantastic. Does the product work with NetScaler, MPX, and VPX?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. And is the UX monitored in real time or historical or both?
The UX monitoring is real time and all the data is stored for your historical analysis.
Perfect. You have both these solutions. That's great. That's fantastic. There are a couple of questions around the licensing. Do you want to quickly run around the difference between the enterprise version and the cloud version, and also what is the licensing for enterprise?
Okay, so let me talk about licensing first. There are a couple of different ways in which we license the software. One is server-based and the other one is user-based. Typically, people tend to go with user-based because it aligns with Citrix licensing, but also we provide a server-based licensing wherein if you have higher density of Citrix users, that will work out to be more economical for you or more value added for you. Okay, so that's licensing. So you can buy based on users or buy based on servers, and obviously you can do cloud service. And you can also buy in-house software. So both options are available from us. EG Enterprise is our standard flagship product. EG Express Cloud is essentially a starter product, if you will, for medium business customers, wherein if you have a few hundred Citrix users and you want something really quick and you don't have the ability to set up a lot of infrastructure in your environment and you just want to get value quickly, we provide EG Express Cloud that has a lot of benefits that the enterprise has and gives you the ability to quickly get visibility into user experience and monitor your users on the go, and you can be up and running within 30 minutes in your environment. Just go to Express Cloud and you can download and try it out today.
That's great. I thank the users. The attendees have not yet dropped off, even though we are out of time. I really appreciate it. I'm going to just take couple more questions here, Bala, so bear with me. Is user input delay the same as ICA RTT?
Hold on a second. Sorry, say it again.
Do you want to run through the demo, or like,
yeah, I had that one report. I had that one report I wanted to show, the capacity report. So 92 users, 83 concurrent sessions, 17% CPU. You guys see that? Okay, if I increase this by 50%, you can see memory usage jumped to 87%, CPU usage jumped to 26%. So you can say that memory is going to be your bottleneck for growth. So if I increase it by 75%, you're going to quickly run out of memory. You still have the capacity from a CPU standpoint to go higher, but you're going to run out of memory. So if I do 100%, so if I double the capacity, your memory is going to be at 95%. So I would even say you can't double the capacity. So you can play with this bar and figure out where you're going to run out of resources. Network usage is fine, disk usage is fine. In some cases, disk usage might be an issue, your IO might be high. In this cases, memory is the bottleneck. All right, so that was just an insight into that report. And there is a lot of different stuff in here. So what you guys have seen is a teaser for 7.1. A teaser trailer, if you will, for 7.1. If you want more details, feel free to reach out to us and we will do an in-depth demo for you and your team in an area that is specific to you. We can drill down all the way.
Great, okay. So I think we are out of time, so I'll leave the more questions, but I'll be unable to take them due to the time bound.
Yeah,
we will get back to you.
We will respond to those questions. I just want to say that we will respond to those questions. And here is something that I want to bring up.
Yeah.
You guys can go ahead and try out the EG Express Cloud. Okay, you can get started in minutes. It'll give you value really quickly, and it is free for 60 days. Purpose-built for Citrix, and it'll scale on demand, and you don't need any infrastructure on your side. You can just get it up and running in a few minutes. So just go to www.eginnovations.cloud. And again, Sagnik, I appreciate you guys taking the time on this, and thanks everybody for listening in.
Thanks for the wonderful presentation, Bala, and the demo. And attendees, I really appreciate your time. Thank you, and all the best. Bye. This ends the podcast.